Good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm Wayne. Welcome to Wednesdays with Wayne, brought to you by the Real Estate Business School, where you get your license and learn to use it. This is the learn to use it part. What I mean by that, there are three types of education required to be successful. The first is the technical education. The second is the business education. And third is financial education. My observation of successful people over the years is that you need all three. And people that play the game of life, business, finance, investing at a very high level have mastered all three types of education. So today it's about learning to use your license. The license is just a tool, and it's useless unless, like any other tool, unless you know how to use it. So before we get started, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to do my best to make sure your time is well spent. So thank you for being here. We started this series of events based on some questions I was asked. And as you probably know, or may not know, but I'm going to tell you so in a minute, you're going to know. It's obvious not everyone has life easy, right? I mean, life's full of ups and downs. We win, we lose. We make progress, we get setbacks. We feel great, we feel terrible. We're ecstatic, we're disappointed. We're clear, we're confused. It's this constant state of up and down and in and out and all these different things going on with this. And I don't think anyone's problems are unique. I think we all have pretty much at the end of the day the same problems. So how does one get from point A to point B? How do we go along this path of constant improvement? And if you're not interested in constant improvement, you can leave right now, because that's what these series are about, is how do you get better day by day? And there's an old saying, okay, hang on just a second. I'm being told I'm not on. Can you see me? Can you hear me? My producer is saying she can't see me. So how do you get better day by day? There's an old saying, by the inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. So I just want to make a little bit of incremental improvement. If I can finish my day with some kind of win, some kind of accomplishment, to me, that's progress. Some days they're huge wins, and some days they're tiny little, thank goodness I won something wins. So the series is about my observations over the years of being around people and watching successful people, studying their habits. And then, there's this group of what I call reverse role models. They say and do things you don't ever want to do. Like, I'm never going to say that in public. Or they do things that you probably wouldn't do or shouldn't do. They just like on this mission of self-destruction. So it's either, financially, or it's physically, or it's mentally, or it's emotionally, or it's financially. It's some way they want to subconsciously wreck themselves. So we went through last week, we covered some things. Today I'm going to cover something different. And I just want to start with, here are some things I've noticed. This really came into focus to me about the late 80s. And it happened because three things happened in the 80s. The oil market crashed, the real estate market crashed, and the stock market crashed. And so if you were in oil and gas or real estate or any kind of business that was subject to stocks, then you probably got pounded, you took a beating. And I took a beating because I was not in the oil and gas business, but I was in a heavy duty truck parts business, and I was selling parts to 18-wheelers running back and forth from the Houston ship channel to the West Texas oil patch. So I had a company on Loop 610 in Houston, and we sold heavy duty truck parts to fleets, 18-wheeler parts. And when the oil market dried up, it's like the brakes were slammed on the economy. It was amazing how fast it happened. It's almost like, if you've been in real estate lately, the market was extremely robust in the spring and summer of last year, and then the rise in interest rates slammed on the brakes. It happened so fast. And it's amazing how fast markets can change. So looking back on that, I noticed that what I missed were some patterns and trends. So since then, I've become a student of patterns and trends. That's why I read so much and study so much. So the further I look into the past, the further I can see into the future. And the more I study economists and asset managers and investors and all these, we have so many different sources of information now. And I'm not talking about cable news TV. I'm not talking about that. That's not informational. That's whatever you think it is what it is. I find most of it to be misleading, as well as the commercials. Nonetheless, I watch and I read business news because it's not opinionated. I don't want someone's opinions. I want someone's opinion. I've asked them what their opinion was, which I do sometimes, but mainly I just want the facts. And what I'm looking for are patterns and trends. So here's some patterns and trends I see in people's behavior that makes them uber successful. One is this: people who achieve at a very high level have massive amounts of this. And I see people coming into real estate and starting businesses quite frequently. And what happens is they fail. And the reason most people fail is because this is bigger than this. In other words, the realtors that are passionate are happy to talk to people about either acquiring a piece of property or selling a piece of property. They're happy to. They're looking for them. They can't wait to talk to people about it. They love the business. Their passion's high. You can feel it. You can see it. It's in their bones. It's in their blood. They ooze it. They eat it, drink it, sleep it. And people are afraid to talk to other people about real estate because they're afraid of how they'll be seen, how they'll be perceived, blah, 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 all that psychobabble. They're out of the business because this is bigger than this. So one of the traits I've seen, massive major passion. It's like, you get when they walk into a room and they start talking that they love what they do and they're really, really good at it. And these are the kind of people that do business because people want to associate with people who are successful, who are passionate, who love what they do. So if you don't love real estate and you're watching this, get out of the business today. So I hear people run, they go, I'm going to get in. I said, get in. Now you're going to get in the way is what you're going to get in. Don't get in the way. And this is one reason that one of the downsides for me in my real estate career was the other agent, the ones who hadn't committed to the business. They were passionate about it. They were going through the motions. They were hoping to get to the closing table. So this is really high on the scale. So to me, it's find what you love and monetize it. Now, how do you do that? Well, you have to have a business financial education. So it's all about, to me, again, I say this, we live in a capitalist society. So if you don't understand capital, you're in trouble. And you understand capital, money is created. You don't exchange it for labor anymore. You can, that's one way, nothing wrong with it, but you also can just create it. You create it with an idea. Well, money is created. It's created from passion. And so if you're in real estate, what you're doing is you're creating money. When you don't have a closing schedule and you're cold calling and you're talking to people and you're out beating the bushes and trying to find somebody who wants to buy or sell today, you're creating money. It's lag. It doesn't come in immediately. That's going to be a month or two down the road. If you find a buyer that wants to buy today and you found them something today, it's still 30, 40 days to closing, but you create that money. That's what you do. So money is created, and it's created if you're unadulterated passion. And so that's number one. If you're not passionate about the business, do us all a favor and leave it quickly because you're just in the way. The other one is this, and I think I went over this last week too. Successful people commit. Successful people commit, and they play at a very high level. And it's actually I have a poem. I think I read it to you or gave it to you, but I'm going to show it to you again. This is it. It's the commitment poem. And I ran across this a long time ago. And these are the things that hung on my wall for years. So this says commitment. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would come his way. I've learned a deep respect for one of Ghost's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Do it now. And this is from W.N. Murray from the Scottish Himalayan expedition in 1951. If you want to copy this for your wall, email us, info@buildmyrebusiness.com. buildmyrealestatebusiness.com. We'll give you a copy for your wall. It's not mine. I didn't write it, but I love it and I promote it. And this is what I see among successful people. And there's this other group that comes in. I go, why are you getting into real estate? Well, I like looking at houses. I'm going to try it and see if I like it. And I whatever. And so there's no story about the chicken and the pig, right? Both contributed to your breakfast. The chicken was interested, but the pig was committed. If you're having bacon and eggs. If you're having cereal, ignore that. So it's not about trying it. As though Yoda says, there is no try, right? So people that I see play at a high level that really get good results, they're passionate, they're committed, and I'll tell you another one. This is a great one. They're persistent as hell. And I love this piece too. And as I said, I think it was last week, when we got into this, we're talking about, if you understand how humans are designed, you have the brain and the mind, and the brain's in two parts, right? There's a left and a right. And left side is typically facts, figures, statistics, analysis. It's detailed, data-driven thinking, critical thinking. And right typically is more creative. It's light, color, music. These are going to be accountants, attorneys, highly developed left brains, engineers, left brain. These are going to be artists, musicians, architects that create. Right brains, creative, left is data analytical. So you have two sides to the brain, a left and a right. And then you have a mind that's also in two sides, conscious and subconscious or unconscious. The unconscious mind is the most sensitive instrument in the universe. And so when you tell people, how you doing in real estate? Oh, not good. You don't have any leads? No, cold call people. What? Talk to strangers? My mom told me not to do that. So it's all about rewiring this. And if you have this here, it drives you, because the subconscious mind is going to drive your thoughts. It's going to drive your behavior. If you're committed and you understand that here, then it drives your thoughts and drives your behavior. That's why I spent so much time working here on subconscious, unconscious mind. Is what is your result? What did you do? Why did you fail? What was the thought just before you failed? If you can figure out that thought and where that comes from, and whatever behavior drove it after that, then next thing you know, everything changes. Same with persistence. So this is an article that I like too. I'm going to read for you if you don't mind. This is Press On by Calvin Coolidge. See if you can see this. Yeah, there you go. Take a snapshot of that. Press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. My personal experience is this is very true. I've passed a lot of people in my life that were taller, better looking, smarter, better educated, more articulate, more pleasant, if that's possible, kind, generous, great characteristics, but they lack persistence. And I think that's my strongest trait is I just won't give up. I'm just going to grind till I get it done. So when I saw this, I went, oh, good. This is great. I'm going to keep this. Nothing in the world will take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. There it goes. You've been waiting for that, right? Happens every time. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Calvin Coolidge. Excuse me just a second to find my bud. There it is. I guess maybe next time I'll try glue. So I like this. And if you want this, if you want to put it on your wall or pass it on to your business associates, your family, your kids, and start programming them properly. And then, so these are the things to me, it's passion, commitment, persistence. And this is also, that's what I got from Fuller, Bucky Fuller, one of my mentors. Says, how long can you keep the faith? How much do you believe in yourself and what you're doing? We live in a world of instant gratification. Oftentimes, if people don't win right off the bat, give up and move on to something else. So when you put all this together, what you get is this model of success anyone can duplicate. So I was talking to my son. We had a great conversation, and he struggled for years to be in a band that was successful. And we were visiting him one time in LA. It's been a couple of years. And he had a drum kit out in his living room. I said, I've never heard you play. Would you mind playing for me? So he played, just went through this. And I was stunned by how great he played the drums. You can't monetize that? I mean, that was awesome. My jaw was on my chest. I didn't know he had that ability and was that great of a drummer. Then he got his bass guitar out. He plays that too. And he's got all this talent I didn't know he had. And when I saw it on display, we don't see our kids at work oftentimes, or what they do professionally. And when I saw it, I was like, holy mackerel, you're really good. You got to figure out how to monetize that. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to get paid. You love it, yes. You'll do it gladly. Have the opportunity to do it, yes. But don't you want to get paid too? So there's two groups of people: those who love what they do and struggle financially, and those who do great financially and struggle personally. So to me, the goal is to have it all. How do you find out something that you love to do and then get paid well for doing it? So how do you monetize it? How long can you keep the faith? So finally he says, he also one day says, what's going on? He goes, I'm tired of being broke. I said, yeah, I've had that feeling a few times in my life too. So what are you going to do? So he started learning how to code. He fell in love with JavaScript, and now he's developed this love for detail and the exactness of it, and how you line up all these ones and zeros, and how you learn this language, and he's having a great time, and he's making plenty of money, and he's finally figured it out. So he's got the passion, he's committed to it, he's persistent. He's actually got this. I sent him this persistent his press on article. He's got it on his wall. Like, good job. But it took him years, several years. The next one is this, and I think you probably have an experience of this. Have you ever been driving down the road in a hurry and there's always someone, the time you're in a hurry, right? The one time, or one of the times, you're in a big hurry and there's always someone in front of you who has nowhere to go and nothing to do, and they're doing it in the fast lane. Now you got to be there. Now I'm, and now there's one next to him, and you're both trotting along with my machine gun. uh, I don't know why it happens to me all the time. I guess because I'm on the run all the time. It's gotten to where my wife goes, "Okay, where are the two cars that are going to block you today?" Because they happens almost every time we get in the car. And so, have you had this experience? You're focused on the car in front of you, and you go, "Move over," and then they do. I think there's a tendency for people to underestimate this. This isn't energy. And you probably had the experience where somebody was asking you a question and they wanted a yes, and no wasn't an option. Like, you knew you were saying yes to them when they started, even though you may not have wanted to. It's like, okay. You also may have had the experience where you wanted something really badly, so you went and asked the person who had the power to give it to you, or the authority to give it to you, and then they knew you were going to take no for an answer. That's intention. And so if you can put yourself into this state where you're passionate, you're committed, you're persistent, and your intention is high, and you put yourself in that state, and you play that way all day long, then what happens is you're getting results, and you do that consistently over time. Next thing you know, you're uber rich, mega successful, and people call you lucky. So I think not one is more than the other. It's a combination of all these things that I've been talking about. And these are observations that I've made of people who excel at a very high level. Their intention is high, their motivation is high, their passion is high, they're persistent, they're committed, and you meet them and you just get it. I know you know what I mean, because you're like that, and or you met someone like that. Probably, if you're like that, a lot of your friends are like that. It's just that's who you are. Any questions? Excuse me. Okay, that's it for today. Passion, commitment, persistence, intention. If you have these in your life, congratulations. If you've got some of these areas that are not in your life, now you know what you got to work on. Remember, we're all evolutionary events, evolving, 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 hopefully for the better. So it's 1% improvement on all your processes daily. And if you can just get this little bit incrementally, 1% improvement, it can improve. If you can improve 1%, you work a typical, I don't know, 300-day year, then that's what, a 30% increase over the year. So what's wrong with that? Nothing. This has been Wednesdays with Wayne, brought to you by the Real Estate Business School, where you get your license, learn to use it. I'm getting a listing this week. I'm selling something this week. I'm buying something this week. I'm acquiring an asset this week. I'm going to have something under contract that meets my criteria. That's the intention. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Go out and make it a better world. Thanks.